Aman Verma worked the graveyard shift at a customer support center in Nagpur. It was a predictable, mundane environment. The complaints and billing issues followed clear patterns. Aman relied entirely on this strict logic, openly dismissing anything irrational. But every rigid system has an anomaly. Here, it was 913. His coworker Priya offered a vague, terrifying warning about the extension. She claimed it knows things. At exactly 3:33 a.m., arrogance won out over caution. Aman picked up the ringing, forbidden line to actively prove the superstition wrong. The immediate feedback was entirely auditory and deeply wrong. First, dead silence. Then, slow, uneven breathing. And finally, a cracked voice that completely bypassed anonymity. It knew Aman's name. Aman froze, a cold chill crawling up his spine. He tried to force a calm tone, demanding to know who was on the line, but received only heavy breathing in response. The entity issued its first direct command. A raspy whisper over the line instructed Aman not to turn around. Aman turned. He found a completely empty office. He exhaled, trying to convince himself it was just a prank. But as extension 13 rang again, he realized the caller possessed a terrifying awareness of his every move. Then, the dread spiked. The caller bypassed the call center entirely and named his ultimate safe harbor. The voice whispered, "Your mother is asleep, in the next room." Aman's grip tightened in a panic. He demanded to know how the caller knew that, but the line fell silent before delivering a final, chilling command. "Go home." Aman abandoned his shift, driving off in a pure panic. When he arrived, the front door was unlocked. His most sacred physical space was completely compromised. He called out softly for his mother, but the house remained entirely silent and unnaturally dark. Aman is forced out of his state of arrogant skepticism, plunging directly into primal, defenseless fear. Quiet, cautious tone. Aman stepped into the dark house. He crept to his mother's bedroom, peeked inside, and saw her lying perfectly still on the bed. A desperate wave of relief washed over him. Then came the secondary intrusion. His personal cell phone rang, an unknown number. The relief shattered. He answered. The entity's voice escalated in proximity. It was jarringly clear and terrifyingly close. It told him, "She's not asleep." Aman's heart slammed against his chest as he stared at his mother's unmoving silhouette. The entity used this terrifying uncertainty to completely break his remaining resolve, softening him up before revealing the actual physical horror. This phone call is the point of no return. The entity has cornered Aman in his most vulnerable space. It has completely stripped away his ability to rationalize the situation. The auditory dread peaks with a devastating final command. Turn the light on.
Aman is forced to transition directly into inescapable visual trauma. The light reveals his mother lying dead, her face frozen in terror. The entity's earlier statement was a literal, fatal truth. Behind her body stands an unnaturally thin entity, its head tilted at an impossible angle. It slowly raises a hand, acknowledging Aman with a wave. The final psychological boundary shatters entirely. The voice crackles on the phone, then manifests physically right beside his ear, before finally echoing purely inside his head. "I told you not to turn around." The forensic aftermath the next morning paints a bleak picture. Aman is found completely unresponsive on the floor, staring blankly at the corner of the room. His phone was still clutched tightly in his hand. The screen displayed the call duration, exactly 13 minutes of inescapable terror. The ultimate horror of the entity is the systematic annihilation of the human mind. If an unknown number calls your name in the dark, do not answer. Your reality is already under attack.